Yeah, you, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore. Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
Turnpike Sports Book Report. The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's book report, where we're going to be talking a couple of the state reports that have just come out for May of 2021. We've got a couple launches, we've got legislative updates, and we got a lot of deals to talk about. Before we get to the numbers, I thought we'd start this time with the launches.
Okay.
We got a whole bunch of different types of launches here, not just books and online books, but we also got some different apps being put together here, and also coursework.
Coursework.
Yes.
Homework, huh?
We're going to
Betting homework.
I'm going to start with that.
Okay.
UNLV's International Center for Gaming Regulation.
Sure.
They launched a series of online boot camps focusing on sports betting and regulatory matters.
Okay, good.
I mean, really kind of interesting stuff to see UNLV doing these types of course material.
Now, is this for college credit? This is actual, curriculum, right?
No, this is for anyone who wants to participate.
Okay, all right.
Sessions range in price from $595 to $1,400.
Okay.
Classes are done by Zoom, and they're going to have a 25 to 35 member cap on it, I guess is the way to phrase it. They had one already, the Casino Investigation, Security Law, and Policing, and 2 others on sports betting. One is going to address the principles of sports wagering, including policy and operations.
Okay.
So, sort of like what I hate to compare these two because they're not really comparable. Remember BetFest?
Okay, yeah.
Where they had Sports Betting 101, and then they had some of the other
more in-depth studies.
So they're basically taking that and putting it into a more formal coursework kind of study.
Okay, all right.
So check it out. Go to UNLV's Gaming Center.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah. So UNLV is the leader in all this stuff, so it's great to see them doing this.
When I was in college, I wish they had courses like this. I would have taken those.
I probably would have.
Being a gaming attorney, they would have been really helpful.
I was engineering, so it kind of didn't. There was some cross pollination. There was no cross pollination there between my coursework and that kind of stuff. Although I did manage to get TV in and all that other stuff.
Okay.
Kindred Group. Now we talked in Exit 1 of Turnpike about the Gamble Responsibly America app.
Yes.
That was released by Entain Foundation.
Yes. Yeah.
Kindred Group launched Better Time, which is a separate app from what their sports books are and their casinos are, and it does pretty much similar stuff. It doesn't go as in depth in terms of there's no resources for problem gambling, there's no hotline attachment to it. It's an app that allows you to control your gambling.
Okay.
You can set limits, you can do timeouts, just like
Great.
The Entain app, that sort of thing. So we got dueling apps almost. I think the Entain one has a little bit more problem gambling focus, but this one is so that their goal for Kindred in the UK is to go 0% revenue from problem gambling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's designed to do that.
Great.
Now we got a couple sportsbook launches to talk about in Iowa, Unibet and Circa.
Yeah, they were given the green light, right?
They were given the green light. Circa has said they're shooting for August. That's a tentative situation there. Because I know a couple of the other books had set out launch dates when they first got their go live authorizations, and they were delayed and delayed and delayed. But Circus seems to be pretty much on the ball with this stuff, and their books are actually really, really cool, and they do a great job with this stuff. Unibet, same thing. Let's see what they do.
Okay.
Over in Jersey, we've gotten word that Superbook USA is going to launch in the next month on the Meadowlands license.
I can't wait for that. I love Superbook. I actually met a bunch of those guys.
Jay Cornegay.
Yeah, I forgot where they were. I think we were in Boston in a convention in Boston.
It was the ICE USA or ICE North America, whatever it was, back in what was it, 3 years ago?
Yeah. It was. No, I think of Superbook every time I charge my phone because they gave us phone chargers, phone batteries, or whatever you call them. They're the
battery
the square
packs,
thing,
battery
the batteries that charges your phone up. So I think of them every time I need my phone charged.
Well, they're going to be coming. So under the Meadowlands license, you're going to have FanDuel, PointsBet, and Superbook. That's a great pairing or tripling or whatever.
Now, look, I know I'm very curious. They made no announcement of it, but Superbook has this great contest.
The football contest.
Yeah, the football contest. Is there any chance that could happen in New Jersey?
I don't know. They've already opened it for Nevada.
So, I'm seeing a lot
and
of that.
also they lowered the price to get in, all that.
Okay.
They've done some tweaks to it that make it actually more appealing for more people to go. They were setting records last year for attendance and how much money was going in and out, that sort of thing. But no word on whether or not they're going to bring it to Jersey this year if they launch.
Okay, all right, but I'll be looking for that. So,
Penn National. We keep talking about Barstool Sports everywhere and the Barstool Sportsbook.
I can't wait for them to come to New Jersey.
I found that hard to believe when I read the announcement that this is going to be the first retail Barstool Sportsbook in Pennsylvania. Going to be launching sometime in August again. Okay. Hollywood Casino York, which is out in the upper, if you're looking at a map, it's in the upper left corner of Pennsylvania.
I'm sitting in New Jersey. I've heard of York, Pennsylvania. I have no idea where York, Pennsylvania is.
The only thing I know about York, Pennsylvania is that band Live came from York, Pennsylvania. That's about it.
That's a throwback.
Yeah.
Huh? With 90s?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only thing I know about York, Pennsylvania.
York, Pennsylvania.
Other than now they're getting a Barstool branded sportsbook.
Hey, good for York, Pennsylvania. We're in New Jersey. We don't have Barstool yet.
And there are two other casinos that Penn National runs, the Hollywood Casino in Grantville and the Meadows in Washington, Pennsylvania. They'll also carry a Barstool book.
Once again, I have no idea where Grantville and Washington, Pennsylvania is.
Well, the Meadows,
I've heard of the casinos.
Yeah.
I just don't know the actual location of them.
Well,
I gotta look on
time to
a map.
learn. May have to visit a Barstool sportsbook.
That's the great thing about casinos and gambling. You learn geography. Look at that. Well, in my case, I learned geography because I'm going to look up where York is. I'm going to look up where Grantville is and Washington
Ancillary learning.
There you go.
One other launch. It's sort of a launch. Michigan. They removed the restriction on betting on subordinate developmental leagues.
Minor leagues. Is that what you're talking about?
That's
Minor
the
leagues?
phrasing.
Really?
Subordinate developmental leagues.
Didn't I just talk about marketing talk? Marketing speak is that. What was that? Subordinate
developmental leagues.
Yeah. Minor leagues.
Yeah.
Just say minor leagues.
I'm
not
going
talking
by
to
what
you.
they said.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the marketers.
Now
things like
that's
that.
not to say you can start betting on minor league baseball or anything like that. Everything will be done on a case-by-case basis. If a book wants to carry some sort of sport, some sort of event in the minor leagues or in the developmental leagues, they have to apply for the Gaming Control Board in Michigan to allow betting on it.
For me personally, I'd be very hesitant about betting on like minor league baseball. You bet on a team. What happens if they call some guy up or move someone down because they have some guy's rehabbing from an injury and, you have to take stuff out. So you just don't know. Those lineups aren't as set as the major leagues. So for me, I would hesitate betting on a minor league team.
I would assume there's something in the rules on the sports books where they have a situation where they can deal with something like that. Whether they void the bet or they treat it as a loser, they treat it as a winner. I guess every book is going to handle that situation differently, but that does happen a lot.
But for me, that's an issue.
How about if it's the other way? You bet on somebody in the major leagues and he gets sent down, I wonder how they treat that.
Yeah, but you kind of have a little more warning than that. You have a little more.
Sometimes
most
it
of the
happens
time.
really quickly, but most times you're right.
And if they're sending them down, that player is not performing well. So they're sending them down for a reason, either an injury or usually not performing well. So you kind of have some idea of what's going on.
You get a
there.
little run-up before it happens because you can notice it, I guess. Going over to some of the numbers, we had a whole bunch of states release their May numbers: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. New York, again, does not report handle. They just report revenue. Mississippi also released their May numbers.
I'm going to make a prediction. Once New York gets mobile sports betting, they're going to report their handle because it's going to be huge. New York is going to be huge.
Well, that's press release worthy. The handle, more so than anything else.
The handle in New York for mobile sports betting will be enormous.
Well, I know the guys over at US Bets did a Freedom of Information Act with New York.
Okay.
And got the handle numbers.
Okay, good.
So if you want to check it out, US Bets has a great article.
What is it? usbets.com.
usbets.com. They have a great article on the overall handle for the New York market. Matter of fact, I threw in a couple notes from it into the book report. You can take a look at it when it prints out or gets up onto the blog after this segment airs. Pennsylvania released their May numbers. Also, Mississippi, Washington, D.C., and Michigan also released May numbers for Michigan online sportsbooks. Pennsylvania, let's start there.
Just go to the blog and look at them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, we're going to talk about a couple of them, too.
All
but
right.
in the time allotted.
Yeah, well, we're we have a time constriction here.
Yes.
So.
Pennsylvania, let's start there. And the big thing for Pennsylvania, they had passed the $5 billion mark for statewide handle in Pennsylvania.
See, that's why New York is going to start talking about handle. I'm predicting because Pennsylvania, boy, what great press they're getting for this. I mean, $5 billion. What was it? The first 11 months?
Yeah, it's not even a fiscal year report.
Their fiscal year, yeah, it was over $5.3 billion.
$5.2 billion.
$5.2 billion.
Yep.
Okay.
Handle was $5.2 billion. The revenue was $398.2 million. That's the gross gaming revenue.
Okay.
The taxable revenue, and I found this kind of interesting. This number. The taxable revenue, you have to get rid of all the promos and the credits, $274.6 million. There's over $100 million in credit there.
Sure.
So I guess somebody's going to have to do a study to see which state gives out the most promos.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge number. State tax, $93.7 million. The local municipalities got $5.5 million out of that $93 million. But their statewide total handle for May was down from April. And you're starting to see some states in May have a rise. Some states go down. Pennsylvania went down in May. $447 million. $407 million of that coming from online. So 91% of the handle. Again, states looking to do launch your sports betting. You got to look at online seriously.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Mississippi still resists it. They have no online industry to speak of.
Well, you know what? They want people going through those doors.
Yeah.
So the casino. So.
But speaking of Mississippi, I'm going to flip over there just as I just mentioned it. They had an increase of almost 10% in handle between April and May.
Great.
$36 million in May. Their revenue was down from $4.3 million to $3.9 million.
That means a lot of people are winning in Mississippi, right?
Well, the April hold was 13%. The May hold was 10.75, just under 11%. So that explains the revenue. And, it's kind of weird to see handle go up, but revenue go down. But that's where you got to look at. The bettors were doing better.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it.
Good
Bettors
for them.
doing better. New York, let's talk New York a little bit. As I said, they only report the revenue. Total revenue in May was $1.6 million. And remember, it's only 4 books. Mm-hmm. Over in the northwest corner.
Yeah, it's upstate New York.
Yeah, but their revenue went up 23% from May. And one of the few states that showed an increase between April and May. New Jersey, hopping over to them, and I'm sorry for flipping around, but I just wanted to hit some of the highlights here. New Jersey's May sports betting handle was $814.27 million. I mean, whenever you talk New Jersey versus the other states, you always expect New Jersey at least $800 million.
Well, you know why? Because a lot of people come over from Manhattan and bet in New Jersey, so that's why.
Take another shot at New York.
Well,
here?
I'm just saying that's why New Jersey's a little nervous when New York gets its online sports betting ready to go.
Well, the Meadowlands license, we just talked about that with the launches. The Meadowlands license right now is FanDuel and PointsBet. They contributed 65% to the overall sports betting revenue in the state.
Okay.
Resorts license, which is DraftKings, came second, and Borgata BetMGM was third. They had a 7% share. So everyone was pointing this out, too. Baseball was huge in May. $326 million in handle.
Well, look, a lot of the, a lot less things to bet on in the other sports. Certainly have the NHL, the NBA playoffs, but there's a limited amount of teams.
Well, baseball was first in New Jersey, then basketball, which was $217 million.
There's a lot more games in baseball to bet on.
Yeah, and parlays still $81 million in handle. So. Go figure on the people love betting parlays.
I like them too because you win big. I mean, you don't win often, but maybe once a week I hit a good parlay. I mean, well, it's not on a daily basis, and it's sometimes not even on a weekly basis.
I've actually been trying to.
You're doing those single game
parlays, 3 and 4 leg. I've been doing pretty good on them.
Yeah,
but I've not been taking what the books have been. Right out the top ones. I go and dig in and see what actually makes sense to me to put some money on, and it's a good way to build the bankrolls.
You do the adjusted lines, right?
I do some of the bands, player bands. Player X is going to score 20 or more points, or 25 or more, depending on, and the odds change when you go through those. And I take a look at what makes sense to me, because a lot of the playoffs, you don't know if the guy's going to play the entire game. Some of these guys will get hurt mid-game and taken out.
Yeah. And
you're kind of screwed if you do the, what was it? Giannis was always doing 30, over-under for Giannis's points were 37.5 at times, 34.5. Sometimes he didn't even make 34 points, but, I felt more comfortable choosing the alternate bands than what the player points were given by the books right off the bat. Washington, D.C., total sports betting handle was about $13.8 million. That's up almost 30% from April. And you got to look at maybe the opening of the book helped in Washington, D.C., in the Capital One Arena.
Sure.
Online sports betting gross gaming revenue for William Hill in D.C. was about $1.4 million, down 11% from April. Gambit was $637,000. That was up almost 20% from April. So Gambit got some traffic there, too. Moving over to some legislation, we had... and I don't know how to explain Ohio anymore.
Yeah.
Every time they go in for a committee meeting, they come out with a different bill. And this last one,
Ohio,
they added a new class.
Yeah, I'm giving up on. They're just, they keep moving the goalposts and things like that.
They added a new class. They actually pushed back the date to April of 2022 for launch. And it's just. I don't know what's going on there. They're listening to too many people. There's a point where you got to shut off your ears and just get the bill done.
Yeah.
And then you can amend it down the road.
Yeah, you can change it as you go along.
But they're trying to make everybody happy right at the start. And I do understand that. You got to make your constituents happy. But come on, there's a time when you got to just cut it off.
I think Maine is closer to starting sports betting than Ohio.
Well, they just passed their bill.
They need the governor to sign it, right? But they're very close.
They put tethering onto it.
Yep.
So the online industry has to be tethered to property in the state of Maine. So give that some time. And again, Maine was the one that had it all passed and ready to go, and the governor vetoed it. And the governor still has said she doesn't see anything to change her mind so far.
Yeah, but, there's this thing in certain states where the governor doesn't have to sign it, and the governor can just let it go into law.
She did not.
Well,
it was all set to go. They were going to have it, and she at the last minute vetoed it.
Okay.
And I have a feeling that may be what's going to happen here again. We'll have to see. Two other things. New Jersey, the ban on in-state college teams. The Appropriations Committee and the Assembly voted 11-0 in favor of it. A similar bill is going to be on the Assembly this week, and they could even have voted on it by the time this airs. But right now it looks like it's going to go to the ballot in November.
Yeah, so voters can vote on that during the general election in November.
And I'm just going to say one thing about Massachusetts. What the hell are you guys doing?
I don't know.
They had an entire day's conference talking about all the different bills. I think they had like 20 bills to talk about, and they really got nowhere. They did nothing with the bills. The consensus is there is no consensus because the Senate doesn't know how to agree upon where the money's going to go. Every senator has a different idea of where the money's going to go, and that's the problem.
It's amazing. Massachusetts is the corporate home for DraftKings.
Yeah.
And there's no sports betting. So actually there's not even poker in Massachusetts, so I don't think why we would think sports betting would even get going in Massachusetts.
And one last quick note regarding legislation. Remember a while ago, Chickies and Pete's was talking in Pennsylvania?
Yes, crab fries. Love the crab fries.
Was talking about trying to get a sports betting set up in their restaurants.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Zoning Board of Adjustment has denied their application.
Oh, okay.
Board voted 4-1, and this was on June 9th, so
right.
It's a while ago, preventing the restaurant chain from proceeding with its plan to allow Parks to move its off-track betting site, the South Philadelphia Turf Club, into the restaurant.
Wow, okay.
So no sports betting at Chickies and Pete's just yet.
We were just talking about Chickies and Pete's and Parks because they had the greatest happy hour promotion. They still, I don't want to say that because I don't know. I haven't been back.
Well, the restaurants do. I don't know about the one in Parks.
Yeah, they used to have a $5 pizza,
tomato pie.
Well,
for those who are listening, there are two different things. There's tomato pie, and then there's pizza.
It depends on if you put the sauce on first.
Yeah.
If you put the sauce on second, they call it a tomato pie.
Yeah.
So, but they had a $5, regular size tomato pie or pizza for $5 during happy hour. It was great. I don't know if they still have it, but I like Chickies and Pete's. Chickies and Pete's is in Parks. There's a freestanding one in Bordentown, New Jersey. I'm sure there's a bunch in Philadelphia where they come from.
There's one in Tropicana.
There's one in Tropicana in Atlantic City too.
Yep.
So
that's a good one too.
Love Chickies and Pete's.
Let's see, a couple deals to talk about before we get out of here for the week. WynnBET did a deal with the Cincinnati Reds.
Right.
Marketing efforts. There's no betting in Ohio, obviously. We just talked about that. And I don't know when they're going to get. This is for the Cincinnati Reds fans in Indiana. They're going to be doing the normal promotional games and offerings in Indiana where WynnBET's legal.
Okay.
Action Network, they just did the deal with Major League Baseball. They did a similar deal with the National Hockey League for the playoffs.
Okay.
Content on the site, in exchange for really good product placement on NHL.com for Action Network. Genius Sports just did a long-term deal with the Professional Pickleball Association.
Pickleball. All right. I'm hearing a lot of pickleball.
Well, it's like a tennis offshoot. Then,
Yeah.
and I'm actually going to try and see exactly what they're doing because obviously.
Well, you contacted them for an interview, right?
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
See what happens.
But they're
pickleball.
Genius Sports.
I don't know much about pickleball.
Genius Sports will be doing the data and live stream, data rights and video broadcasts from over 1,200 of their matches per year under this deal. Now, I didn't know this. The PPA Tour, which is what they did the deal with, the Professional Pickleball Association, 16 events across the United States in 2021. Over $1.5 million in prize money is at stake. They're going to have 20 events in 2022 with over $2.5 million in prize money that year. And, they're actually growing. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of fun to watch this because I really think you're starting to see sports betting not only grow as an industry in the United States, you're seeing sports betting grow some of the sports in the United States as well as around the world, too. Who knew table tennis was going to take off like it did? Obviously Colorado did.
I have to check on this commercial because I think I heard it in a commercial. It was for Little Caesars. It was the commercial where the guy's sitting at his desk and eating the pizza, and another guy's in the doorway saying, "Is this going to be trouble for us?" And he's going, "Uh-huh." And he's like, should we be worried? Uh-huh. And then the guy in the door says, "Are we still on for pickleball at 4?" And he said, "Uh-huh." So I believe pickleball was mentioned in Little Caesars commercial. I will check.
That's actually great TV watching on your part there.
That's very, but very astute of me.
A couple other things. Fox Bet brought on David Ortiz as a analyst for the site. Mm-hmm. They're also going to feature him in the Fox Bet Super 6 contest. They're going to have Win Big Papi's money.
Okay.
So they're going to be...
Well, didn't they do Win Terry Bradshaw's money for football? Okay, so it's Win David Big Ortiz. Papi's money for baseball. All right.
Bally's completed the acquisition of Jumer's Casino from Delaware North over in where is this?
Illinois.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find it in my notes there. Boy,
I just found it. Yeah.
Let's see. The price was $120 million. It gives them additional access for sports betting in that state as well. So they're expanding their footprint. And we'll end on Chalkline Sports, Kostelski's group. Very good group with the free-to-play games. Some of the smartest guys you'd ever want to run into in the industry. They did a deal with the Northwoods League to do a free-to-play sports betting app, the NWL Lucky 7 for the league.
Okay.
Now, I took a look at this league. It's kind of interesting. It's a baseball league. It's a developmental league.
Okay.
As we were talking about there. And they have two divisions, the Great Lakes Division and the Great Plains Division. Mm-hmm. So you know where they're at. They're in the Midwest.
Yeah, I think games like this are great, especially for developmental leagues or minor leagues, because you know what? When you play these games, you get to know the players because you start following these players. So I think it's great. I think it's great promotion for the Northwoods leagues.
Two things about the Northwoods League I thought was very interesting.
Okay.
Number one, they stream all their games. And you have to buy a subscription to it.
Okay, all right.
That helps the league make money.
Hey, whatever makes them
keeps
money.
the league afloat.
Yeah.
And the other thing is they have their own custom beer that they sell at all the ballparks.
That's pretty cool. All right.
They have 5 Tool Ale. It's a cream ale.
Okay.
That they sell to 21 years and older at all their ballparks. Right. It's custom made for the league.
Great.
Which I haven't seen too many leagues do that.
So it's a Chalkline free to play game. What is it called?
NWL Lucky 7.
Okay. All right.
And that's it for the book report. Whatever we didn't have a chance to cover on air, it's in the book report print version, which is on the Turnpike Sports blog, turnpikesportsradio.com. Click on the blog button. That'll be posted soon after the actual audio of this publishes.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.